Hi everyone, so let's revisit topic 1, Introduction to Computers. Alright, so basically in previous lesson, I have taught you guys on how the computer works in general. So let's see the 4 basic function again, where basically the number 1 is input function, number 2 is process function, number 3 is output function, and number 4 is a storage function. But understand that these 4 functions are the major function of a computer. You should be able to actually define what is a computer. So like what I have taught you guys in the class, if you were to define or to differentiate whether or not the device is a computer or not, then you just check on these 4 functions. If everything is checked, then you can call it as a computer. Alright, so let's see the first refreshment, input function. So basically in input function, it is where a process that you get in all the data into your device. Let us just assume this is the computer that we are talking about, alright? So you're going to have few devices that helps the user or you to get all the data into the computers. For example, you might have a scanner, you might have a barcode scanner, you might have a keyboard to key in all the letters and alphabets. For the clicks instructions, for example, when I play a video, so the click instruction, you want to give that input this instruction into your computer. You need a mouse or at least a touch screen for your mobile phone. And perhaps if let's say for example you want to record audio or voice, like what I'm doing now is basically I just need a microphone. So these are examples of input devices. Alright, so the keyword for the input function is in, where basically you let the data into the computer. Next is the process function, where basically it has a CPU, a central processing unit. So this is also what we call as a processor. So this processor helps the computer to understand the data or the instruction that we have already keyed in or we have already gathered in the input function previously. So in this process function, the keyword that is easy for you to hope that you can understand is basically, it's understand. Alright, so the understand would be the best keyword, I guess, for you to make sure you get the idea of what is the process function. It's basically to translate whatever data that you already keyed in or gathered in the input function, or any instruction that you have already collected, either using the mouse, touch screen monitor, touch screen, or perhaps a stylus pen. Alright. For this case, the device would be the processor. Next is the output function. Basically, you have all these devices that helps the user to see or to display the output based on the forms that you want. For example, you might want to print out something, then you might want to have a printer to print the document, or perhaps you want to see or to view or to watch a movie, then you might want to have a screen, either it's for the computer screen, a tablet screen, laptop screen, or including your mobile phone screen. Or perhaps you want to listen to music, right? Or lesson that I'm giving it now, so you might need a headphone or perhaps a speaker. So these are among of the devices that is for the output. So we call this as output device. Alright, and the last part is that we have the storage function, where basically anything that comes from the computer that you want to save, alright, for whatever purpose, right, or in whatever form you want to save it in your computers, or perhaps for other devices. For example, you have a thumb drive, right, a CD, DVD, hard disk, or perhaps instruction to be stored in RAM. So these are what we call as storage devices, right? So you have learned all the 4 basic functions of a computer, and you have hopefully have understand there are devices, different devices for different functions, right? So let's revisit. We have the input, process, output, and also the storage function, right? So everything is actually then we can call as one complete set of a computer. It could be your mobile phone, it could be your laptop, computer desktop, or perhaps even ATM machine, as long as they can perform all of the four basic functions just now. Alright, so now you might wonder how they can communicate to each other, because basically you have keyboard attached to the computer, or perhaps you have other devices as well. So basically these devices talks in what we call as binary language. So in binary language, it only has two digits where it is either 1 or 0. Each of this digit is referred to as bit, right, which is a short form for binary digit. So either 1 or 0 is actually 1 bit, right? So if I refer to this digit, it is 1 bit. Or either is if I refer to this 0, it is still 1 bit. Alright, the thing is, computer doesn't understand the letter A that you strike on keyboard, for example. Alright, so the human language A is represented using binary language of 1 and 0. Okay, so 1 and zeros can be combined to represent a character, a letter. Alright, so let's take a look here. For example, we have the word aloha. Capital A is represented by these 8 bits. Alright, we have 8 bits altogether here, which is only either 0 and 1. Alright, of course, you could have a strings of all zeros, or you can also have a strings of all ones, right? But they must be unique. They couldn't be the same with one another. So capital A has 8 bits, where you see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Alright, so have 8 digits or 8 bits to just represent capital letter A. Alright, these 8 digits, alright, or 8 bits are actually considered as 1 byte. I repeat, the combination of these 8 bits is 1 byte. So the whole thing here is we call as 1 byte. It is actually more or less the same like our human language, where basically for each of these letter, alright, this is what we call as letter, one letter, and one letter. But when we combine the whole thing up, right, it becomes a word. So the same goes for this one. Each of these is what we call as bit or binary digit. But when we combine all of these binary digit or bits, we call it as 1 byte. Right, so let's take a look on the letter L, how it represents in binary language. Alright, so as you can see here, it's totally different with the capital letter A. Alright, so basically it still have a combination of 8 bits, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, it only combines of either 1 and zeros only. Okay, so let's take a look on letter O. So you have another strings of 1 and zeros. You have 1 byte, another 1 byte for O. Right, this goes for H. And right, we have A with totally different and unique numbers. It is not the same as capital A, because remember, each combination of bits, right, in binary language is unique. Alright, they must have unique combinations. Capital A and small a is totally different. So just imagine if you have all these letters in your documents or your assignment or reports, you will have, large numbers of bits and bytes. So basically that will give you the size of the documents, and of course the longer that you type, the longer content that you have, especially when you include more elements such as pictures and whatnot. They are also represented using the binary language, including the dots, periods, asterisk, right, the space bar. Everything that you strike on the keyboard is represented using the binary language. Alright, so let's revisit. This is 1 bit. This is also considered as 1 bit, so it's either 1 or zeros. But if you combine all of these bits, alright, into 8 digits, it is all 1 byte. This is just an example of 1 byte. It could be any of the combination between 1 and 0. Alright, so far I really hope that you understand the bits. If you want to play around with the bits, where basically you want to change or convert the text letters into binary language, then you can just go to this website. You can either just scan this QR code or just go to this link, and then you can see there's online tools that helps you to convert just for fun. Alright, converting the text into binary language. Right, so have fun.